Now, each one of us in here comes from either a differing train of thought, a distinguished way of life, or some other third type of being. But regardless of all of that, there's one thing I'm positive connects each and every one of us by a single thread. At least once in our lifetimes, we've been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And since I have everyone's undivided attention, I'll go first. Now, when I was younger, just a toddler, it was simple. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be famous. No question about it. No ifs, no ands, and certainly no buts. As you can see here, I have always found a way to be completely larger than life in just about every single thing I do. And to be honest, I'm still that way. And this quality of mine, unsurprisingly, led me to develop a huge passion for the performing arts, and more specifically, theater. As I found that the theater was the one place I could go to and be as expressive as I wanted to be without fear of judgment. To this day, my love and passion for theater is still going strong. And on the surface of everything, what I do is great. I get up on a stage much like this one, I act my heart out, I sing until my soul is emotionally drenched. And if you're lucky, I might do a jazz square for you. At the end of the night, I get up on the stage for curtain call, where I have that incredibly rewarding applause. And I'm with the cast, where in most cases, I've grown so close to them that I can hardly bear to think or imagine living life without them post-production. But as I near my college graduation, and as I inch closer and closer to becoming a man in the real world, and as the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, increases in seriousness daily, theater has admittedly become increasingly defantasized. Because let's be honest, working as a professional actor, it's not for the faint of heart. And yes, we all know the starving artist. But personally, I feel that one of the hardest challenges for actors everywhere to face is the idea of not knowing. Picture this. You go to audition after audition after audition, where there will always be 1,000 more no's than yeses. You don't know if you have any chance of making it, and to be honest, you never will be able to know. Because whether or not you think you're super talented, super trained, or just super special, you will always be waiting for the approval of someone else. Always waiting for the approval of the casting director. But okay, well, maybe there's something you can do to better your chances. Maybe. Maybe if you had rehearsed those lines for 5 minutes longer. Or maybe if you were just a bit shorter. Maybe if you were taller. Maybe if you had gained 5 pounds. Maybe if you had lost 5 pounds. And the worst part is that every other actor you meet in the waiting room is talented. And I mean like extremely talented. So much so to the point where that little voice starts creeping into the back of your mind, making you question and doubt why you do what you love so much in the first place. It asks, are you even good enough to be here? So how are actors supposed to find the strength within that will sustain them through a career littered by constant doubt, constant rejection, constant uncertainty? Well, the answer to this question first came to me upon taking my first musical theater course right here at the University of Notre Dame. The class was entitled How to Act a Song and was led under the brilliant instruction of the pretty inspiring professor, Matt Hawkins. A bit into the semester, Matt sat me down, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Who are you?" Who am I? Well, usually when I'm asked this question, I look him back and I say, "I am Samuel Jackson." And then I wait for them to go, "Samuel Jackson," like the actor. And I go, "Yup," just like the actor, as if I hadn't heard that joke maybe 5 million times before. But okay, I said, "Matt, I am Samuel Jackson." He says, "No. I don't want to know what your name is specifically. I want to know who you are." Who I am? Well, I said, "Okay, I'm Samuel Jackson, a sophomore at Notre Dame, and I'm heavily involved with..." He stops me. He says, "No, no, 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 no. I'm not interested in knowing what you do. I want to know, who are you?" I said, "Well, okay, what kind of Alice in Wonderland caterpillar nonsense is this all about?" What? I didn't know how to respond or react. And it was as if the seemingly simple question, "Who are you?" had magically transformed into this complex riddle that not even my own self was capable enough of decoding and solving. Now, how did this experience help me become a better actor? To be honest, it didn't. For a very long time. It didn't. It didn't. It still didn't. And then things started to click. Things started to make sense. Now, many actors love to act because they say, "I enjoy leaving myself and embodying someone else, a character who is different than I am." But it's interesting because the only thing an actor will ever have to portray another character is themselves. Their own emotions, their own experiences, and their own personal feelings. So while, yes, acting is about embodying someone else, I think it's safe to conclude that, more so, acting is about realizing what's already within you. But what does this require? It requires an actor to know who they are and to trust that whoever they may be is enough. It requires an actor to confront their true, authentic selves without any hint of pretense. And while, yes, this involves one to know their strengths and strong suits, it also requires them to acknowledge their weaknesses and insecurities. Now, once I grasped these concepts, it did wonders for me on the stage. Wonders. For in the words of Stanislavski, I learned that the person you are will always be 1,000 times more interesting than the best character you can ever hope to play. But interestingly enough, I found that these same concepts of knowing who you are and trusting that being works wonders just as well off the stage as they do on. In life, it can be very easy to glamorize everything, everybody, and anyone but ourselves. We all want to be like the coolest guy on the block, or the prettiest girl in the grade, or the smartest student in the school, or the most athletic on the team, or the most talented on the job. It is harder, though, to admit to want to be who we are, without question, to be our own persons, wholly and fully. But by masking who we we render ourselves invisible by hiding what makes us, individually, us. And this is something very important to note, because only until we begin to embrace these ideas of knowing ourselves and trusting ourselves can we begin to solidify our unique existences here on this earth. Now, with this being said, I have to keep it real. Because the truth is, self-love is not always the easiest to come by. I know. I've experienced it myself. Everyone in here has experienced it as well. And that's okay. Because we're all human. But if we begin to take pride and joy in the fact that there is no one else on this planet who is exactly like each and every one of us, we can begin the journey from where we are now to a glorious destination of internal validation and confidence. We must remember that while being arrogant is believing that we are better than somebody, being confident is knowing that no one else is better than you. And it doesn't just stop there. Confidence doesn't just work inwardly. No, it exudes outwardly. It will give us the strength and courage to stand up tall and to keep pressing on, even in the face of fear and failure and doubt. It will make us more apt to forgive as we begin to embrace humanity's imperfections. And it will render us more loving souls as we begin to cultivate spirits of self-love and self-confidence ourselves. I stand here to tell every listener to be proud of the character they were created to be on life's marvelous stage. Act your part with an unbridled confidence and act it loudly. For the very moments we begin to lose ourselves on this stage is the exact same moment we begin to deprive the world of a truly beautiful and unique human being. You know, I used to tell myself when I was younger, when I grow up, I'm going to be a somebody. But I was focused so much on being a somebody that I forgot, wait a minute, I was a somebody right then in that moment. And don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with having a vision and a plan for the future and for having personal goals that will cultivate self-growth. But the problem arises when we become so engrossed with what we wish to become that we forget who we are right here in the now. So, will I ever be that famous actor that younger me so desperately wanted to become? To be honest, I don't know. But amidst this uncertainty, I have a newfound confidence. For I am not up here before you all to try and become the next Samuel L. Jackson, but I am here to live and thrive as the first Samuel Blackburn Jackson II. So the next time someone asks, who are you? Just a heads up, you don't have to break out into a 15-minute speech like I did. You don't have to. You don't have to. But I hope that you all will at least realize that there is so much more in you than you might have even imagined. Thank you.